Hello. Thank you for joining our webinar today, where we will present an overview of the most recently updated level portfolio from Siemens. I am Jim Haldeman, Director of Instrumentation at the Lessman Instrument Company, a division of Kelly. I have been applying Siemens level products for over 20 years in many types of applications. I now support our entire organization in selecting the best solution for any given level application. I am joined today by Rocky Zhang. Rocky has been with Siemens for 25 years in the business development for process instrumentation. Rocky has a BS in engineering and an MBA in finance. Rocky has extensive exposure in process instrumentation technologies, and he is frequently asked to speak at global industrial conferences and conventions in the field of industry solutions. Rocky is an author of several magazine articles on instrumentation advancements and application considerations. Today's webinar will be recorded. If you have a question, please ask them in the question window within the app in the GoToMeeting app. I will see them and answer them as I get to them within the presentation. So what we want to do is bring everyone up to date on the portfolio of Siemens level products. And we've primarily spent a lot of time in the upper left corner, which is our non-contact product solution. And you can see we refer to that as our first consideration, because we have some fantastic product that offers some quite a few features, including minimal maintenance, no wear and tear on any of these products, and they're very easy to commission and install. And many of these products have been installed for over 30 to 40 years. There's a deep legacy, a deep installed base, and quite honestly, it's a significant portion of what we do with Siemens. If we look at non-contact, but we find that there's situations that arise that maybe there's a better solution, then we'll consider contacting level instrumentation. And you can see there we have some images. Those considerations might be for small process connections, could be the application itself where, for example, interface might be the goal we're trying to achieve. Maybe there's excessive pressures and temperatures that are outside the envelope of the through air technology can handle. Although with the recent release of the LR500 series, we do have a broader breadth of pressure and temperature exposure. And on the lower left, then our point level switches, because good engineering practice may often ask that in addition to having a continuous level transmitter, that we want to have some other point level switch to prevent from fully emptying a vessel or overfilling a vessel, depending upon what application there may be. And then on the lower right, of course, is our legacy product, which is now the LT500, which is the evolution of a number of different products, which we will summarize today so that you understand where we were and where we are today. So bottom line is we have a lot of different ways to measure level. And I'm going to now share with you a brief summary, a video that Siemens put together as to why that is the case.
Have you ever wondered why there are so many technologies available to measure level? Because no single technology works in every application. The applications are too different for that. That's why Siemens offers a choice. For continuous level monitoring, there is non-contacting or contacting technology. And if your process demands safety assurance, local display and control, point level detection, and digitalization. Non-contacting technology is the first choice for lowest cost of ownership, featuring process intelligence, quick start wizard, Bluetooth operation, and a wide selection of connections and approvals. It is the easiest to install and operate. For environmental and general applications, ultrasonic is a great choice, even when buildup is a challenge. Radar, on the other hand, easily handles vacuum, pressure, vapor, and dust, and is suitable for long distances. The strong signal even measures non-intrusively through plastic vessels. Guided wave radar or capacitance are ideal for demanding applications with extreme temperature or pressure and interface measurement. Use hydrostatic for narrow deep wells or your challenging applications, including turbulence, foam, and physical obstructions. Our weighing portfolio manages high accuracy dosing and batching applications with ease. In addition, Siemens offers a wide range of technologies for point-level detection, ensuring the safety of plant, processes, and personnel. Siemens is at the front line of getting you ready for tomorrow. Manage your business with a self-contained controller, including display, relays, data logging, diagnostics, and industrial communications. With unparalleled control, smart devices, and access, you always have extensive knowledge of what is happening in your plant. Connect devices to the cloud, or easily integrate them with PCS7 or TIA portal to see how your system opens up in front of you. From a single level measurement point to an integrated complete level solution. Level up from measuring to mastering, because it makes sense. Siemens.
One of the questions I often hear by customers is, why do you have so many different ways to measure level? And the answer is because there's no really one perfect way to measure all level. Every opportunity, every application has its idiosyncrasies. So, really this page I'm showing you right here summarizes the methodology of measuring level and the applications that we could consider using them in. This document, when reviewed, and then when you provide a completed application data sheet, that is the roadmap for us to determine which is the best solution for your application. So we're always going to start with the application and then move forward to figure out what the best solution is. So basically, the rest of this presentation is going to be kind of going from left to right, talking about the technologies and making sure you're aware of the current scenario, the current products that we have. Again, here is kind of a pictorial of all the different ways and methods to measure level, right? There certainly are a lot of them. And we like to focus on the through air stuff, the non-contact, because we feel that that's probably gives the best performance if it's something that can work in your solution or your application. And how does it work, right? So the one technology that Siemens uses is a technology called process intelligence, which is really, what's happening inside that ultrasonic or radar transmitter to give us an accurate measurement. So I'm going to tap into here, and I'm going to tell you that this is a video
Let's take a
summarizing
different view on how production can be made more resilient, resource efficient, and sustainable. Process intelligence is an essential part of the new Siemens radar transmitter series and also applies to Siemens' entire product line. Designed for level measurement of solids and liquids, even in the most demanding applications. The technology emits radio waves, measuring the time to travel to and from the material. In simple applications, it is easy to determine the desired echo. But there are many scenarios that can affect it. Siemens Process Intelligence handles these conditions easily. Signal strength varies on dynamic surfaces, but even the weakest signal is strong enough for reliable measurements. The dynamic threshold curve reacts to the smallest changes when the signal is reduced, for example, in severe turbulence. Agitator blades are ignored by the discriminator window feature, as are echoes from silo seams. The new near-range suppression feature automatically suppresses signal buildup at the antenna over time, resulting in reduced maintenance costs. But sometimes it is not enough to just look at the first echo. Siemens uses first, largest, and area of the echo to determine the true level under challenging situations. Process intelligence enables reliable measurement in extreme demanding situations. This is why we build process intelligence into our devices, because it makes sense.
So again, we utilize process intelligence and all the through air stuff. Um, and it's a real differentiator between our products and what our competition may have. After leading the market in ultrasonic level controllers for the past 40 years, Siemens has evolved its industry-leading control solutions to include our full line of ultrasonic transducers and 80 gigahertz radar sensors. If you're looking for high accuracy open channel flow monitoring, if you need flexible control with multiple relays and an ultrasonic input, if you need multiple communication protocols, we have that all covered with our most reliable controller for long range and high accuracy radar transmitters. The LT500 is the next evolution of level, flow, and pump controllers for radar, ultrasonic transmitters and transducers, or any two-wire 4 to 20 milliamp device. It is the first choice for any level control application for both single or dual point measurement, up to 6 relays, and a multitude of outputs, including Modbus, HART, Profibus, Profinet, and soon to be released Ethernet. So this slide here basically shows the two variations, although they all look the same. I want to repeat that several times. By looking at this device, you can't tell if it's an ultrasonic input or a 4 to 20 input. They look the same. The difference would be in the model code selection or opening up the door and looking at the input comments on the actual cards. But I want to go take a deeper dive into this product, and I'm going to have a video to do that. So sit back and watch.
It's time to level up and flip your view on controllers and take you from measuring to mastering. No longer is it necessary to decide what level measurement controller works best for your technology of choice. Siemens Citrans LT500 is the answer. Our latest release of Citrans LT500 is now compatible with ultrasonic transducers as well. So not only does it work with radar transmitters or any 4 to 20 milliamp devices, the addition of the optional ultrasonic transducers means you can get the added benefits of this controller without replacing the sensors you already have in the field. Why would you want to replace your existing controller? I know it already works great, but with the newest version, you now get up to 200 saved echo profiles so you can really analyze your process. Operation in your choice of 15 different languages. Over 200 diagnostics and alarm settings for total customization and monitoring. Configurable display views to see just what you want to see. Full simulation to anticipate scenarios important to you. And finally, we've included a pump exercise function to ensure that the pumps won't run dry. All parameters are on the Modbus map to make integration easier for you to use in existing networks. One relay can have multiple alarms, increasing flexibility and opening up new opportunities for control. With 4 independent totalizers, you can track multiple data sets from one controller. When the power is interrupted, have no fear, no data will be lost. And parameters are automatically backed up to ensure you never lose your information. Sometimes you want to see exactly how well parameters are performing based on their echo strength. Now this can be assigned directly to the SV, TV, or QV over HART. I know there are many impressive new features that you'll want to digest with this new controller, but what makes this controller truly exciting is that it encompasses all of these innovations while keeping all of the things you love about our previous versions. So you still get unbeatable accuracy for applications like open channel flow, dual point measurement for redundant or multiple application use, optional Profibus and Profinet industrial communications connectivity, pump control, as well as our industry-leading environmental adjustment features like wall cling reduction, pump run-on, and on-off delays. Connectivity to our entire legacy transducer portfolio. Pump activation energy management for real cost savings. In conclusion, level up your control by flipping your view on level measurement controllers and taking you from measuring to mastering, because it makes sense.
Very good. So thank you. So I'm going to take a little deeper dive and just emphasize, where we are today relative to where we have been in the past. So the LT500 basically comprises the old multi-ranger, Hydra Ranger, 200 HMI, and the LUT 400 all into one enclosure in one package. You can see in general, it has the graphical display with the 4 push buttons. It has all the quick start wizards that you are familiar with in the past. It is compatible with both PDM and Pactware if you want to use remote software to do the configuration or look at any diagnostics. And it's available in 15 languages. So the ultrasonic version is essentially what you've had in the past with the multi-ranger Hydra Ranger, 200 HMI, and in the LUT 400. This device can do level using all transducers, including the old Miltronics legacy transducers. So that's very similar to what you're used to in the past. In addition, they have a separate version now where you have to pre-order it this way, where you would get 2 milliamp inputs. And one of the unique features is if you pair the LT500 with either the LR110 or the LR120, which are both low-cost radar transmitters, and or a probe LU240, which is a lower-cost self-contained ultrasonic transmitter, using the 4 push buttons on the LT500, you can configure all those devices. So essentially the LT500 becomes the master when you're communicating with those instruments. And the flexibility that the LT500 offers with regards to its interface, um, you can use this for a multitude of applications. Of course, the most basic and the most common is a single point level application. However, using a dual channel unit, you can do independent applications, 2 different vessels through 1 controller. You can do dual level with redundant or different technologies, meaning you could have an ultrasonic on one and a radar on the other, so that if one technology would for some reason fail, the other one would not. And then of course, you can use it to average or to do differential. You would need to buy a dual channel unit to use for the differential functionality. And then of course, the LT500 has full capabilities for flow applications. One unit, the LT500 can do it all. It's all field selectable using the Quick Start wizard. Also using the Quick Start wizard, you can set all of your alarms. And now there are, up to 6 alarms. That is all something that we ask you prior to ordering. And because those alarms, those relays are actually installed in the box. So we ask if you want 1, 3, or 6 relays. Those are the available options. Once you get the unit, however, depending upon those relays, you can configure it using the Quick Start wizard to utilize those in any shape or fashion you would like. Of course, as in previous versions, all of your pumping routine, your pump control can all be set up via the Quick Start wizard. Very intuitive. Any general simple controls, basic Quick Start wizard applies, up to 6 relays. And of course, your open channel flow can all be set up and configured via the Quick Start wizards. Again, nothing really new there, just right arrow moves you through the setup, and it's all very intuitive to use. Almost out of the box, you don't need a manual to set this unit up. And then lastly, there are several communication protocols available. These protocols can be either ordered at the time you order the LT500, or if you find that you have the need for these communication protocols after, you can actually buy those boards as a retrofittable kit and install them in afterwards. And as I mentioned earlier, Ethernet will soon be available on this product. We're hoping within the next 30 days. And then what's unique about this LT500 as well is it has a SD card or a USB configuration slot for extracting data, as well as communicating remotely to PDM software or Pactware if you want to do any in-depth or more significant viewing of the echo profiles and so on and so forth. All the echo profiles are available on the little display, but it is just that. It's a little display. And if you want a larger graphical interface, you're going to want to use your laptop. To summarize, here is where we were and where we are. Okay, most everything now on this great stuff box has been obsoleted. So if you came to us today asking for a new Hydra Ranger or a new multi-ranger, that your current one looks like this, which is the classic version, which had no push buttons, or if you came to us today and said, hey, I have this one, it's a Hydra Ranger multi-ranger 200H MI, or if you came to us with an LUT 400, we are going to convert that to this, the LT 500. It's going to give you everything that you had in any of these configurations with some additional features which will provide additional benefits. Okay, and a lot of these were covered in the video and they're all shown here, so I'm not going to go through each one individually. Just know that this box can do everything this box could do plus additional features. Again, this is highlighting the LT500 ultrasonic version. This is identifying the analog or uh, um, the analog version and this, but they look the same. Okay, so you cannot look at this box and decide or determine what is in it. You have to look at the model numbers. So this is the EchoMax transducer. There's a family of these. All of these are compatible with the LT500. Essentially, these have not changed. This, for example, is the LU240. This replaced the Probe LU ultrasonic transmitter several years ago. And as I mentioned earlier, this product is totally compatible with the LT500 if you buy the analog input version. This can be a little confusing because this is actually an ultrasonic transducer, but it has a 4 to 20 transmitter on top of it. So it is an analog output. So if you wanted to utilize this in an LT500, you would want to purchase the LT500 with the analog input. Okay. And again, this is one of those that would be actually configured at the LT500 versus on a push button display on top of the transmitter. 4 or 5 years ago, Siemens introduced the LR100 series, which we'll kind of call the entry-level, lower-cost general application radar transmitters. Essentially, if you've been using ultrasonic, you can probably use the LR100 series. A few benefits these had was these came with Bluetooth and has the ability for you to do the configuration on a free app that you can download to your Apple or Google device. And quite honestly, we've sold quite a few of these. They work exceptionally well. Unlike the ultrasonic devices, these are two-wire loop power devices. Okay, so if you simply want level, you can take this LR100 series and run it right into an existing controller and you'll get your level. If you need pump control or other features that the LT500 would give you, then again, you would purchase the LR100 series, you'd run it into your LT500, and you do all your configuration in the LT500 for all your pump control or any type of functionality, whether it be flow as well, out of the LT500. So here, the LR500 family. So this is the most recently released upgrade to our higher end industrial radar level transmitters. And what I'm going to do is click on my video and we're going to introduce the products via this video. To summarize, you can now shoot a little longer than our previous radar. You can go up to 394 feet. We've improved the accuracy to 1 millimeter. Of course, they all use the process intelligence that I showed you a little bit earlier. We've increased the response rate to 3 per second. And we have the capability for 100,000 diagnostic points within the transmitter.
Hello, I'm Mark Wheeler from the Global Technical Support Group here at Siemens, and today I'm joined by Tim Liddle, the Product Manager for Level Radar. Thanks for joining me, Tim.
Thanks for having me, Mark.
Tell me, Tim, the new Citrons LR500 series, can we do liquids and solid applications with the same technology?
Yes, we can, Mark. We've got an intuitive quick start wizard, and that would guide you through your setup, whether it be liquids or solids, inventory or process control applications, and we've even got multi-language support on those wizards.
All right. Well, I can see we have a variety of process fittings and connections here. I guess these are for, for different applications.
Yeah, that's right, Mark. So in terms of environmental coverage, we've got a variety of materials, 316L stainless steel or Hastelloy C22. We've got PEEK materials, we've got PTFE materials. We've got temperature ranges from -196 centigrade all the way up to 250 C. We've got pressure ranges from vacuum up to 40 bars. More specifically on the individual devices, Citrons LR510 has a threaded connection. This might be suitable for liquid measuring of hydrocarbons, inventory control.
Okay.
All right, and the chemical industry would prefer this Citrons LR530 with its flange connection, PTFE wetted surface here. Citrons LR550 with its polymeric horn and flange connection. That could be used for liquids or solids, river level monitoring, for example. Solids for those very tall, narrow grain silos with its very narrow beam. And then finally, the Citrons LR580, it's designed for those challenging solids applications, possibly in the cement industry or power generation.
A lot of these devices are going to go into very nasty and volatile environments. So how do we ensure that the Citrons LR500 continues to perform in these environments?
These process connections and antenna materials and designs are field proven for over the last 20 years, actually. And in addition to that, we've got a second line of defense option in the neck on some of the versions, and that would give you a second seal that the chemical industry sometimes is requesting, and that would prevent any chance of vapors from making its way up into the enclosure, thus causing a risk to the operator.
Okay, well, we're certainly set mechanically. Tommy, how easy are the devices to configure, Tim?
Yeah, they're super easy, Mark. We've got the local HMI here with the push buttons for configuration. We've got the mobile IQ experience using Bluetooth technology with your smart device, or we've even got right from your comfy chair in the control room using EDD or DTM tools.
All right, so we've got a variety of options for configuration. What about diagnostics? Say, in particular, Citrons IQ Guard.
Yeah, with Citrons IQ Guard, we've got a whole suite of features in the product supporting diagnostics. For example, the NE107 icons on the HMI or on the control room. We've got 100,000 points of variables data logging in the product. We've got limit monitoring of those variables as well. We've got diagnostic logbook. We've got a parameter change logbook, so all kinds of tools there.
Give me an example of where you would probably, use those advanced diagnostics and maybe the monitoring and limit monitoring particularly.
Sure. In the solids applications, there's a few particularly difficult ones, flour and lime powder, for example, that tend to stick on the antenna and need to be cleaned. And today, those customers are using air. And quite a bit of air, right? Compressed air for cleaning. So the limit monitoring, we can actually set a low-level limit, which would drive a solenoid valve and only clean when it's necessary, thereby reducing air consumption, reducing maintenance costs on the compressor, supporting that sustainability.
Okay, so being able to predict and monitor changes in the process, improve efficiency and, of course, cost saving, which, of course, is what every customer wants. In addition, have we made any improvements or changes to our process intelligence?
Yeah, good question. We've got, of course, process intelligence in these new advanced radar series. In addition to that, we've got near-range suppression. It's a new feature. And what this does, Mark, is it continually monitors and evaluates and removes the noise caused by antenna buildup or nozzle buildup that would traditionally cause a false high level and false readings.
Okay, and of course the inevitable question, what about accuracy and response rate?
Yeah, some big gains there, Mark, as well. We've got 1 millimeter accuracy now. We've improved the measurement response rate of up to 3 measurements per second. and we've increased the signal sensitivity, which has given us more capability on those really turbulent applications, process control conditions, and extending the range to 120 meters.
Clearly, there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be very excited to get their hands on the new Citroen's LR500. Tell me, when's it available?
It's available right now, Mark.
Excellent. Okay. Well, there you have it. The new Citroen's LR500 series of level radar from Siemens, leveling up your expertise to take you from measuring to mastering, because it makes sense.
So just reinforcing some of the comments that they made regarding advanced diagnostics, just be aware that if you're actually having heart, 4 to 20 with heart, and you happen to have a heart input card, you can actually map a variety of different outputs from the transmitter because they're all there. And he has custom here. Well, that would be the custom for the advanced diagnostics in his case, which would turn on or off the air purge on the LR580. So, depending upon what you have communication wise, you do have potential to get a lot of value, a lot of variables out of this transmitter. You can see on the displays here, they're just showing the example that, you can set it up for distance, space, or level on your actual digital display. Of course, the majority of our customers all use that for level. Just want to make sure you're aware that you have a multitude of variables that you can put on that display. The volume of the material within the tank or silo can also be calculated. This is an enhancement from the previous version. So the 500 series includes 10 vessel geometries or a strapping table with up to 32 points to relate volume from level. So, we have a lot of these conversations with customers for inventory control where they might want to do a strapping table, but sometimes they're doing that in the PLC. Just know that the software is built into these new transmitters so that you can actually do this via the transmitter. And I haven't done it myself yet with the touch screens. I'm sure that it's something you can do with the display. Although I think if I were doing it, I might want to go with either the app via Bluetooth or possibly use PDM software, just because you can see all the variables on the laptop that you're trying to set up, especially if you're doing the strapping table where you have 32 different points. Anyhow, just some feedback there as to how you might want to go about doing that if indeed it's something you would be interested in doing. Radar technology is not affected by process conditions like many other technologies are. Harsh environments in liquids or solid applications are not a problem. Material density or dielectric, process pressure and temperature do not impact the measurement. Even those heavy vapors or liquids or heavy dust and solids are not an issue in most cases. When it comes to the range, depending upon the antenna system and the model that you choose, the LR500 series can measure anywhere from, of course, 0 to 394 feet, which is a little bit longer than the previous versions. So to summarize the 500 series, the 510 is designed for liquid applications. It has a threaded process connection. I think the minimum is 3/4 of an inch. They're available in stainless steel, and for harsh chemical applications, you can get them in C22 alloy, Hastelloy. The lens antenna material is PEEK, and the seals are available in FKM or FFKM. Again, ADSs, application data sheets, when provided to your sales rep, will tell us what's in that tank and will help us choose the proper materials of construction to make sure that these transmitters last as long as possible in the application they are installed in. The maximum range of the LR510 is 98 feet, and of course that depends on the antenna that is selected. There's the 530. The 530 is our flanged antenna version. This would be the equivalent to what had been the LR250 series. And it's kind of designed for liquid chemical applications. The antenna lens and seals are PTFE. The maximum range for this model is 394 feet, depending upon which size flange and antenna we choose. The LR550 is a polymeric antenna for liquids or solids applications, and it has a range of 394 feet. The 550 can be configured in several different ways. You can have it with no bracket or a flange. You can have it with a bracket to mount to a wall or a ceiling, or you can have it with a flange for tank or silo monitoring. You can see in this image here, we have both the no flange with the bracket that could mount to a sidewall or a ceiling, and then we show it with, of course, a flange which could be mounted on top of a vessel. And then lastly, the LR580, which is really the equivalent to what had been the LR560, which had been the go-to solids radar transmitter for the past 12 years. And this unit will be the replacement to the 560, which I believe has now been obsoleted. It is designed specifically for solid applications, has a range of up to 394 feet, can be configured with fixed flanges from 3" through 6", or it's available with an easy aimer flange, available in 4" and 6" with the easy aimer. And again, that is going to go to a range of 394 feet. As they alluded to in the video, you can, of course, buy a display with every transmitter. And on the left here, you can see the local display. It's got the same 4 push buttons that we have on the LT500, and they essentially work the same. The right arrow would get you into the setup screen, and you would just follow the instructions. So it's got the 4 buttons, it's got the quick start wizard. However, if you're buying a bunch of transmitters, you don't necessarily need a display on every one if they're going to be mounted in a place where you don't see the display. So it's very easily, you could buy, if you buy 10 transmitters, you buy one with a display, and then you could actually use a display to configure every unit, take it off, go to the next one, configure that unit, so on and so forth. I've done that several times, and every time I've done that, the customers have always come back and ordered the displays because they simply like having them on the transmitters. So it's not a huge cost adder, but it certainly gives you the functionality that you need to set everything up right from the transmitter itself. The next option, of course, is to buy the transmitter blind with no display with the AW050 Bluetooth adapter. If you look on the left there, and that phone app, that's either an Apple phone or a Google phone, and that app is free for either one. This app was created, it's called the Mobile IQ app. It was created to be used with the LR100 radar transmitters, which came to market 4 or 5 years ago. And it's fantastic. So, of course, but you need to be in Bluetooth range, right? So we all understand that. So once you're in Bluetooth range, you can use that app to do everything you would do from the face of the display. And you can actually see the echo profiles and everything that you would actually see using the PDM software you can see here. So it's a nice tool. And I really do love it. And most all the new, like for example, now you can actually use this to set up a Siemens PS2 positioner as well. So they're really trying to move this to throughout their entire product portfolio. And then lastly, kind of older school would be using PDM software or Pactware, which is a free software. That would be via a HART modem of some type, USB to HART. And of course, there you could sit in your control room and you would put that clips across the 2-wire with a 250 ohm resistor, and then you would be able to download and get all the configuration and everything on your laptop. And of course, this is nice for looking at larger echo profiles if you're having some type of issue. I always say that's the eyes into the tank, and the laptop is going to give you the largest screen to basically do that from. So again, to summarize, where we had been and where we are today, on the left, the great stuff was really where we started. I think I started selling LR200s 20 years ago. We had rod antennas, we had horn antennas. Those evolved into the LR250, where we still had some horns. We still had some rods on occasion when we had to shoot through some thick concrete floors. Those were something we would use there. And then, of course, maybe 10 years ago, the LR560 was introduced, and that was really the dominant player for a lot of our fly ash, lime, cement applications. Really worked fantastically until the day it was put to rest, only because the 580 series transmitter has replaced it. A lot of the features on that 560 are still available today on the 580, where you can buy the air purge and, of course, the easy aimer and so on and so forth. So um, the stuff on the right, now we have the capacity for the Bluetooth, which a lot of people seem to like. We've got Heart 7. It's more accurate, it's quicker, and it's got a wider breadth of pressure and temperature specifications. So it's really an enhanced product compared to what we had with the previous LR200, LR250s, and LR560s. If you come to us with an old LR model number, whether it's a 200, a 250, or a 560, if you have a complete model number, we can transpose that for you from what it was to what it needs to be to meet the application. And really, this is just a simple graphic to show you we've got, transmitters for really basic to intermediate to advanced applications. And what determines this is the completion of an application data sheet where we know basically the parameters for which everything's going to be installed, and we'll make our recommendations as to which technology to use. Again, here's the LR400 series, the 500, which we just kind of overviewed. So this really ends the portion of our through air level measurement and takes us into a much smaller percentage of the level products that we sell. If I had to surmise, I would say we do about 80% of our level is all done through air, whether it's radar or whether it's ultrasonic. But there's always applications where guided wave might be the best solution, and really that would be for very low dielectric liquids. I very seldom would advise a customer to use something like this on a solids material. I know I see a lot of competitors specifying guided wave radar on, for example, coal or lime or other things. I think it's because maybe they don't have the fantastic through air level products that we do. And my first thought is always to convince a customer to go something other than guided wave if it's in that application. So we talk about it, and again, that's why we want to have an application data sheet. So we have a full line of guided wave radar used in a multitude of applications. Just want to make sure you're fully aware that we have something other than just through air product. And then an older but still product we support and sell quite a few of for specific applications are capacitance level transmitters. We have the LC300. We're limited to distance and so on and so forth. So there are some customers that really like this. They've used this in the past. They want to continue to use this, and we continue to support it, and so on and so forth. But we're typically always going to lead with through air. And if we can't do it with through air, then we're going to fall into one of these other categories. And of course, the application data sheet is always our roadmap to take us to which technology we're going to use. And good, safe engineering practices would kind of tell us, in addition to having a transmitter, we may want to have a point level switch, whether to protect from overfills or from pulling a complete empty tank, which might not be something that your process allows. So we have, vibration point level switches for dry powders. We have vibration point level switches for liquids and slurries. We have paddle wheel switches, which a lot of people like to use in the grain business because of things they've maybe purchased in the past that look like this. Our LPS paddle wheel switch has some nice features that won't run the motor out like our competitors will. So we have the full gamut there, and we have the PointTech capacitance switch. The CLS version was really a staple of what we've done for many years. A year ago, we introduced the LCS 100, and I want to have another video here, and they can show you how that product looks and how it works.
Hello, I'm Mark Wheeler from the Global Technical Support Group here at Siemens, and today I have the product manager for point level and guided wave radar, Sean Ireland.
Hey, Mark. Thanks for having me today.
Well, as ever, Sean, it's good to see you. And typically when we meet, I know you've always got something new and exciting to show me. So, hey, come on, what have you got for me today?
Well, I sure do. So today I brought you the Citrans LCS 100 point level switch, our latest switch from Siemens. And over the years, you and I have had a lot of discussions about application challenges. So in order to address some of those, we've added a number of new features, such as we have cable extensions, right? We have rod extensions, so you can do top mount applications. We have remote testing here with the Citrans SCSC, so you can remotely test the product. And we've also added IO-Link digital communications, right? And I've also brought an application for you.
Please tell me this is the yogurt.
This is the yogurt, right? So I didn't want to disappoint you. I brought you the yogurt. And of course, what we're going to do here is, as you would expect, into the yogurt, not a problem. You get a switch state, right? When you bring it out, you can see no longer switched, right? So I've tuned it to ignore the buildup.
Indeed, indeed. Now that's quite a lot of build-up there, Sean. That's impressive. I like that. Now, as you were demonstrating that, I was actually connected via Profinet to the IO-Link master, and I'm using the Siemens port configuration tool. And what the port configuration tool allows me to do is to completely configure an IO-Link device. Plus it allows me to go online and look at process data and do some remote test features as well. And what I actually noticed was, as you were going into the yogurt there, the count value would change, and as the build-up got more, you could actually see that the count value continued to change, but the output didn't switch, which is exactly what you want.
You have digital communications using IO-Link, and you're able to do things like predictive maintenance, one of those applications we've talked about over the years.
Absolutely. Predictive maintenance is key to an application. Excellent. Now, one of the other questions or applications that comes up quite a lot is, can we do interface? Can we do interface for the Citrans LCS 100?
Well, I read your mind, right? So I brought you an interface application, and here you can see we have oil top layer, we have water below, and with the LCS 100, what I've done is I've tuned out the oil, similar to what I did for the buildup, right, on the yogurt.
Right, okay.
And when you go in, you can see here, ignoring the oil, no switch, but then when you get into the water, you get a switch state, right?
Indeed.
So there's your interface application.
Excellent for interface. Now that actually, again, while you were connected there, I'm connected again via IO-Link, of course, but I have a Siemens HMI on here now. So on the HMI, I can see the process data. And I actually noticed that when you went from the air to the oil to the water, that I could clearly differentiate between, the three states there. So, not only, I guess, we can do interface there, quite clearly, we can also, potentially do product differentiation as well.
Right. So with IO-Link, as you point out, we have build-up monitoring, we have interface, and a lot of different applications we can take care of.
This is good. Flexible extensions, remote test feature, and the IO-Link communication, Sean. That really has really packed a lot into that product. All I can say, thanks for coming in today and showing us the new Citrans LCS 100.
Well, thanks for having me. Pleasure to be here today.
Thank you, Sean. Well, there you have it. The new Citrans LCS 100 is the latest example of how Siemens continue to offer choices for your level measurement needs.
So thanks. The one thing I learned while watching that video is how you could actually use that LCS 100 to determine when you're running different product through a line. Sometimes if you're running product A and you change to product B, you may want to know when you've reached that transition. And looks like you could potentially use a LCS 100 to do that. I thought that was kind of interesting. So thinking outside the proverbial box with regards to just a point level switch, it could be used for something else. So again, the CLS has become the LCS, and it has a variety of different installation configurations. Again, application data sheet will tell us which version we should sell you for that application. So of course, kind of the oldest way to measure level is hydrostatic. Want to make sure you're aware of a full offering of hydrostatic, whether it's a LH100 or an LH300 submersible. The difference there is the LH300 has the ability to cap or protect the diaphragm, so you'd use that in applications where you could have the potential for some plugging. And then the oldest method that I know of to measure level is using a hydrostatic pressure transmitter mounted to the side of a tank. we certainly sell those. We have those. It's the P320, 420, which was released just a few years ago. Predecessor was the DS3. And we can certainly do that. The problem with using that type of measurement as the density or the product might change, as the temperature changes and expands and contracts, the pressure changes, and that can all lead to error with regards to your levels. So this is a classic case where we're using a deferred measurement, in this case pressure, to try and tell us what the level is. So, but for whatever reason, if the application data sheet tells us that this is the best method for measuring your level, then that's the method we will go with. Just want to make sure you're aware we have that, still continue to have that that application or that process technology for whatever application. I want to make sure you're completely aware that Siemens offers a complete line of both controllers as well as load cells. There are some situations where a customer just says, hey, I can't have anything touching my product, or I want to measure level in a tank, but I can't put any process connections on it. It's a certified tank, whatever it might be, and I can't do anything, but I need to know what's in it, right? So just be aware that Siemens makes a complete offering. They call it Cyware X is the controllers. And, we have a complete line of a variety of load cells that, again, with the completion of an application data sheet, working with Siemens, we would determine which of these load cells is the best load cell for your application and make a recommendation. So as you can see, we've really covered the full gamut from the through air non-contact level instruments to the contacting level instruments to the point level switches and to the non-contacting weight-based level instruments. And I'm just going to finish up by just showing, we certainly have the accessories that you could use if you want a remote display. Many times level transmitters, especially the through air stuff, is all mounted on top of the tank and you want to see something down below. Your operator wants to see something down below. We certainly have real simple means to do that. Loop power devices. This RD150 here as shown in the center is kind of nice because it's got the 4 push buttons. So using this small little display, you could actually program that LR110 transmitter. You can scale it 0 to 100%, whatever you might want to do through the push buttons. You wouldn't have that functionality with some of these other displays. So that's, you can see this is a HART device as well. So, again, the reason we have a variety of methods to display is customers want different things, right? So we just want to let you know we have the complete gamut of whatever those things might look like to satisfy your applications. And then lastly, just want to reiterate, this easy aimer, these mounting brackets, these were all built for the legacy XPS ultrasonic transducers. So just know that the low cost LR series radar transmitters were all built to use the same hardware. So, if whether you're using an XPS transducer or an LR radar transducer, they're compatible with these easy aimers, which allows us on solids applications to aim this signal so that there's less angle of repose off the angle of the solid in your vessel. And then, of course, mounting brackets, maybe for wastewater applications where this needs to get mounted to the side of a concrete wall or a basin, or in this case, over a weir for a flume application. We really do have all of the bracketry. We just need to understand how it's going to be installed, how it's going to be mounted. So I know we're coming up at the end of our allotted time. That's really the end of my presentation. I've been monitoring my questions portal, and I haven't seen any questions come through, which is typical. Typically, most questions get emailed to us after the fact. I know Rocky was listening and didn't necessarily feel the need to chime in, but he was there listening, and I asked that if he had any edits or corrections to make to my comments, he would do so. So based on the fact we didn't hear anything from Rocky, I think we're good. So again, here's my contact information. You have my email address. You have our 1-800 number. If you have any questions about what we talked about today, if you're still in the gray about, what's new relative to what you may have or what you may need in the future, please reach out to myself. please contact your dedicated Lessman salesperson. They'd be happy to review your applications with you. And before I go, I just wanted to take the minute to thank all of our customers for over the many years. We've sold an awful lot of Siemens level over the many, many years. And if you're listening today, I just wanted to take the opportunity to thank you all for being loyal customers, and we look forward to working with you in the future. So thank you for attending.